This has been a very long week. Uh, Probably the longest I can remember in a while.
Welcome back to Building an Indian D2C Brand, a documentary series that takes you through the journey of building a homegrown Indian brand from start to finish. We are SimplePlan Media, a branding and web design consultancy based right here in New Delhi, India. In a marketplace full of noise, we believe in power of simplicity. Through thoughtful design and strategic marketing, we help brands find their authentic voice in an ever-evolving marketplace. In the previous episodes, we finalized the art direction and got the logo approved for a new sub-brand, Sharmeeli. If you'd like to catch up on how we got here, click the I button on your screen or check out the links in the description below.
So with the logo logged in, now the team is going to explore the final color palette for the brand. What kind of type that will go with it. We'll explore patterns and motifs that we'll be using in the complete identity system.
So what we'll do is, with the packaging, we'll explore the identity expansion. Generally, it's a very elongated phase. After a logo is finalized, then we get into expansion of the identity, the fonts, the colors, the type, and all of that jazz. But this time, again, due to limited time, we'll do the packaging design and we'll explore the identity along with it.
Unlike what most people think, your brand identity isn't just your logo. It's your brand story, how you communicate, what you communicate, and the look and feel of the brand. Basically, it's the whole personality of your brand. So let's take Amul as an example. They have an iconic little girl as their mascot. And they have a witty and humorous tone, which they use to talk about current events. This has helped them stay culturally relevant for a longer period of time. This is how great brand identities are built. And in a world of D2C, where there is no physical interaction, your brand identity is the strongest lever you have to build a long-lasting emotional connection with the consumers.
So now that the logo has been locked in, now it's time for the identity. So with the Indian D2C angle that we have here, we have to kind of keep in mind all the places, the end user, other stakeholders, everybody, right? Where all we'll be kind of interacting with them. So we'll be working on things like packaging, things like accessories, things like posters, and all kinds of other standard collaterals that can come into play when you create an identity. So we have a flower, a 2D flower, and we have an eye inside the flower, which will kind of form the base of everything that we will design. Kind of look into things like there's seasons in fashion, right? So maybe we'll kind of tap into that. So we have three things that we'll keep in mind. It has to be multicolored. It has to have a maximalist approach. It needs to also expand on our idea of the flower power that we're kind of playing on with this identity. So we're thinking multiple flowers with the same form, but slightly different shapes, different colors. We're thinking of how the eye can kind of play into different things. Maybe we'll have an eye that winks at you. Maybe we'll have sort of elements around the eye that kind of play into the idea of the irony that the name also has. And yeah, that's where we are with the identity.
If the logo is the face of the brand, the identity is the brain. I took my 5-petal flower and using the same circular grid that we had earlier talked about, I made it into a 3-petal flower, a 4-petal flower, a 5-petal flower, and a 8-petal flower, each representing a specific season. And when those were finally made, now we have a foundation of what this brand is, of what the elements of the brand are. And from that, we came to different collaterals such as thank you cards. We did the name tags for our clothes. Gurbani also wanted it to be playful. It had to be exciting. Like if you want to break it into that market, what kind of steps can we take so that if they're doom scrolling in Instagram, they have to stop.
Now that the brand identity is ready to take form, the pieces begin to fall into place. Building off the strategy, tech, and art direction developed back in episode 2, Gurbani and Shiv begin the next phase, translating vision into visuals. Now that the identity is ready, it begins to extend into something more tactile, the packaging.
During the discovery call, the clients had brought the Amalta's bag, the box with them. So I think it was discussed right in the beginning that that box is going to form the base style of the box even for Sharmeeli. So the box will have an outer and it will have an inner. Other than that, we're thinking maybe there can be a bag, put accessories in it perhaps for the user for like an enhanced experience when they're unboxing. So some things I have in mind right now are, I'm thinking maybe we can do hair accessories, so clips, rubber bands, scrunchies, stuff like that. When it comes to the garment, then we're also thinking of the hang tag and the neck tag. That's part of the collaterals that we will design. But all of this will have to kind of look cohesive when we design it together. When we start doing the identity design, it usually starts from making grids, where the grids then become the foundation of everything that is designed on top of it to ensure a sense of uniformity, a sense of cohesiveness. In terms of packaging, we've also kind of moved to a step where we have two ideas in our mind right now, right? One has a slightly sort of, it's more on the desi side, where we're thinking of using illustration style on top of the packaging in the outer box. So we're thinking borders, we're thinking maybe patterns, right? So other than the flowers and the eyes, we can also have other patterns, a check pattern, for example, being the base. The other one goes in a more sort of flatter 2D design. It's more poppy. Everything on that packaging design will be floral in nature. So the borders kind of come together to form that flower-like structure. There's like stems of flowers coming out from the borders itself. We're thinking of adding like very sort of cool, quirky, almost one-liners, Hindi one-liners. Right now we're thinking iconic like dialogues from Hindi movies. We will design it in a way where it kind of naturally urges them to keep the box even after they've received the package and they're done using it.
With the visual direction locked and days of iteration behind them, Gurbani and her team have translated Sharmeeli's personality into packaging. Bold, playful, unexpected. Now, these designs go to Rahul and Yogesh for a round of internal feedback before the box reaches the clients and eventually the customers.
The first one, they have used checkered boxes a lot, and it's extending into multiple colors for different seasons, which can be used as different seasons or different collections.
And in this version, the team has played with seasonal box grids. We've used a lot of quirky patterns as well.
So it's quite fascinating because it gives a retro sort of like a mithai ka dabba look. Like a lot of sweet shops in India use this sort of pattern.
I'm not sure how I feel about the checkered boxes.
When we keep the designs very clean and minimal, generally the longevity of a design is more. So that's a sort of a con that I can foresee.
Right, and again, with the seasonal variation, one of the disadvantage might be that we won't be able to build that brand recall that comes through consistency.
Let's show it to the clients once. But I'm quite satisfied where we have landed with this sort of packaging. So the best part about this is that this one has identity expansion right into it. So we have explored with icons a lot, and we have expanded the floral identity into different type of flowers per season and how they can play out. A 3-petal layout, a 5-petal layout, a 8-petal layout, the eye tape that is present, that they have come up with, the open eye and the close eye. The side mein hi aankhon mein ishara ho gaya, like these little subtle elements that they have put on the boxes. I quite like a lot of them also. This is a little more on the extreme end, which means it's more maximalist, but I think it goes with the brand because inherently our brand in general is a maximalist brand. We are not doing minimal things.
Yeah, I think this one hits the mark. And probably we can take the seasonal part from the first version and experiment in the second one as well. Since our packaging design is so vibrant, one of the challenges that we might come across is during the printing stage, because it's always a hassle to get all the colors right. But this is one we want to take because we want to stand out in the market.
So the experience that we want to deliver for the end consumers is we want a box that feels unique to the end consumers.
Right, so operation wise this would be a challenge, but again, in order to provide the complete customer experience, this is something that we feel is essential for this sort of a brand.
Now that we have all the elements locked in, we have also created an additional deck, which kind of encapsulates everything that we have done so far with the identity. We can just quickly revisit to make sure that we're all on the same page of how this brand has shaped up. Last time when we met, we brought together 4 or 5 different directions of how our logo or our branding can take shape. So you selected the first option. So now we have actually refined it. So the logo is finalized based upon a grid that we created for the flowers. It's a symmetrical 5-petal pink flower with our winking eye in place of the bud of the flower. We went with a clean style with the logo so that the eye could be the focal point. Now there are different versions of this logo that we can use at different places. So there is a Hindi version of the logo. We can use it interchangeably along with the animation or motion. So that's the horizontal version. And then we also have a vertical version at places where we can use the vertical logo. So we have shortlisted primary and secondary colors for the brand. You'll see a lot of yellows, greens, pinks, purples and blues that come out to give a very fun, joyful, yet edgy look and feel. So with each seasons, our logo color marks can also change. So that's also baked right into the identity. The color balances, we have figured out the 2 color balance, the 3 color balance along with the 4 color balance. Along with that, another very crucial part of the identity is the typography. For the typography, we have chosen Stadio Now Deva. Its form has elements like the edges that give a subtle note to the desiness, but it still looks modern and overall a very cool looking font, I would say. And now coming to some graphical elements. So we have 2 major visual principles. One is the bloom that represents the different flowers that we're using in the identity. And then we have maximalism, which is very important for our brand. We will visit the packaging for the first time. So narrative 1 packaging का है, rebellious, playful and distinct. इसके अंदर we have played on grids and patterns. Okay. So we are using seasonal box grids, जिसके अंदर spring के लिए ये grid है, autumn के लिए ये grid है, summer के लिए अलग है, winter के लिए अलग है. Because that's how the complete identity will be formed. It can change with different seasons. And this is how the packaging might or will look in this sort of a thing. And now we can use this as a different set of packaging, that as a different set of packaging. But lively, maximal and unapologetic, this is what we like. इसके अंदर जो iconography है वो petals के अराउंड है. सीजन के हिसाब से पेटल चेंज हो सकती है. उसमें शेप पे था, इसमें पेटल्स पे 3 पेटल, 4 पेटल, 5 पेटल और 8 पेटल. ठीक है. इसका आइडेंटिटी सिस्टम कुछ ऐसा बनेगा जिसके अंदर our petals are expanding with different seasons.
Sexy.
And this is how the packaging will look like.
Sexy.
An example of ये है वो अलग-अलग petals, how it might look. Again, interesting point about this packaging is like different sides of the packaging can have like different lines in future also. For now we have used आँखों में इशारा हो गया, but in future we could have culturally relevant lines also. अब इसके बाद हम collaterals देखेंगे थोड़े से. Name tags ऐसे हो सकते हैं, 2 options हैं name tags के. Again, a lot of floral elements with the ऊपर से tag of the flower. Papers could be like this. ऐसा एक पेपर हो सकता है, आँख वाला पेपर हो सकता है, सिंपल नॉर्मल पेपर हो सकता है, पेपर बैग ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है, लगेगा ऐसा कुछ, और थैंक यू गॉड ऐसा कुछ. And we also went a step further. We experimented with some scarves, a measuring tape, and some patterns from our identity are used in these elements also. Again, these are the kind of freebies that we can give along with the packaging to our end consumers. बस अभी तक इतने तक ही पहुँचे हैं.
With the packaging design in place, Sharmeeli is no longer just a concept. It has started to take shape in the real world. But design is only one half of the story. Now, it's time to bring the brand to life through visual, voice, and storytelling. In the next episode, we take Sharmeeli into the real world, scripting, shooting, and shaping the content that will define how the brand is seen for the very first time. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. This is Building an Indian D2C Brand.